The four friends were piled on Yumi's bed on their phones when suddenly Yumi asked, "So are you guys going to Sarah's party tomorrow night?"
Oh my god, I was just thinking about that. I'm definitely going. There's no way I'm staying home on Halloween night, Annie said. Nini looks around confused. Wait, hold on. What party are you guys talking about? She stuttered.
Oh, Sarah didn't tell you? She's throwing a Halloween party tomorrow and everyone's invited, Punch said.
Nini smiles nervously and says, "Oh, I haven't heard."
The room went quiet. Yumi looked at Annie. Annie looked at Punch. They all thought the same thing. Nini wasn't invited. Punch sat up quickly. "Oh, Nini, you should totally come with us. It would be so fun. We could all dress up together and everything." Yumi smiles and says, "Yeah, and we can take a ton of pictures. I haven't posted anything new on my Instagram recently." "Great, then we'll all go to the party," Punch said. They arrive at the party in their Halloween costume. "Nini, why are you wearing that? What were you supposed to be?" Yumi said while laughing.
"I'm a scarecrow," Nini said softly. Nini looks at her friends' costumes and feels left out.
Yumi is dressed as a glamorous cat, Annie as a cute bunny, and Punch as a doll. Yumi pulls out her phone and asks, "Nini, can you take a picture of us? We all look so cute tonight."
"Yeah, of course," Nini said. Nini snaps a couple of pictures of them before Annie says, "Nini, you want to be in the picture?" Nini forced a smile and said, "Oh no, it's okay."
"These pics are going to be perfect for my Instagram," Yumi said excitedly. Sarah runs up towards them and said, "Hey, you guys, me and a couple other people are going to play this board game. Come play with us." "What game?" they all asked. "It's like some corn maze game or whatever," Sarah said quickly. Yumi, Annie, and Punch exchanged glances to each other.
I don't know, I'm not really interested," Annie said. Nini notices the board game on the table, with Peek, Haru, and Tawan, the most popular kids at school, sitting around it. Nini shouts, "Let's play it, guys, it seems fun." Everyone stayed quiet. Annie said, "We don't want to play this stupid board game, Nini." "Come on, please play it with me," Nini said desperately.
"Let's just play it, guys. It could be fun," Yumi shrugged.
Nini smiles with excitement and they all walk to the table with Sarah. Everyone took a seat. Sarah opened the board game. The board game has only a green piece of cardboard and a corn-shaped button in the middle. Everyone is confused. "Okay, how are we supposed to play this?" "There's just a piece of corn in the middle," Annie said with annoyance. Everyone laughed. "I think there's a button. Try pressing it," Peek said. Sarah pressed the corn-shaped button. Nothing happened, and everyone was just sitting in silence, waiting.
Suddenly, the corn started glowing and a blinding white light shined out until the whole room was so bright that nobody could see anything. Everyone screams and yells, confused at what's happening. Suddenly, they could all see again, but they're not at the party anymore. They're all in a corn maze. The group materializes in the middle of the corn maze, dust swirling around their feet. Yumi looked around and said, "Wait, did we just get divided into groups? I don't even see my friends."
Annie squinted at the tall corn walls. "Yeah, we're definitely split up. The game said something about 8 groups, right?" Nini frowned and said, "Our goal is to find the exit. But how are we supposed to do that in a maze this huge?"
A robotic voice echoed above them. "Complete your assigned tasks to advance." Yumi groaned. "Tasks? Seriously? This is getting complicated." They each checked the glowing cards in their hands.
Annie said, "Mine says I have to solve a riddle before I can move on." Nini shook her head. "Mine's a physical challenge. This is way harder than I thought."
A pause. Then a new message flashed across their screens. Only one player from each group will survive. Yumi stared at the message. Hold on. What do they mean by only one?
Annie took a step back and said, "We were supposed to work together. I thought this was a team thing." Nini swallowed nervously. "Guess we were wrong. We just have to finish the task, and then the game teleports us to the next station." They exchanged uncertain looks as the maze lights flickered, signaling the start of their first challenge. Everyone arrives at the next corn station. Annie started yelling, "Why do we all have backpacks full of corn?"
Yumi said, I don't know, guys. Are we supposed to eat this or something? I'm on a diet. Suddenly, there was an announcement saying, you need to finish all the corn while running to the door before it closes.
"Wait, what? We have to run while eating?" Annie asked.
Punch shouted, "Oh my god, this is insane. How are we supposed to finish this?"
Everyone looks at each other, panicking. This task will be starting in 5, 4, 3, the robotic voice said.
Annie screamed and shouted, "Oh my god, there's a scarecrow chasing us." Everybody screams and run towards the door while eating the corn in their bags. While everyone is struggling to finish the corn in their bags, Punch suddenly collapsed on the floor. Everyone is too focused on the task to notice.
Yumi, Annie, and Nini reached the door. They are all gasping for air.
Nini looks around and sees Punch lying down on the ground. She loudly shouts, "Hey guys, why is Punch over there? Is she okay?" "She might have tripped and fell down," Annie said.
I don't think so. Look at her face. It's purple, Yumi shouted. Everyone is shocked by what they're seeing. Yumi and Annie rushes to Punch's body, trying to wake her up. Annie feels Punch's pulse. She yells out,
"Oh my god, she's dead."
They all looked at each other, shocked. Yumi and Annie started crying. Yumi squalled at the path ahead and said, it wasn't that surprising that she died. She was running slow anyways.
Annie stared at Yumi in shock and said, "Yeah, she might have been a turtle, but Yumi, that was so mean. She was our friend. How could you say that?"
Our friend who you've always been so mean to, Yumi replied angrily.
"How am I mean? You were literally saying she deserved it," Annie said.
I didn't say she deserved it, but literally everyone knows that she can't run for dear life. By the way, you just called her a turtle, Yumi answered, while her face was turning red from all the anger.
The two of them continued to argue.
"Yumi, stop acting like you care about anyone but yourself. The only reason you want to get out of here is to go back to your 3 million followers on TikTok and make a story time about your so-called scary experience," Annie said sarcastically.
Oh my god, do you even hear what you're spouting out? Nini, are you going to say anything? Asked Yumi.
Annie and Yumi turned to Nini, who was just standing there.
After what felt like hours, Nini replied, "Guys, let's just forget about Punch and move on. I really want to get out of here."
Yumi also noticed that Nini was sweating like crazy. She asked, Nini, are you okay? You're sweating bullets.
Nini then said, "I'm just nervous of what's going on and what's going to come next. By the way, our friend just got poisoned and you guys don't seem to care at all." "I know I care," said Annie. "I'm literally trying to find out how she died and when we all had the corn."
Suddenly, Yumi realized something suspicious about Nini. She thought her actions and words were a bit off. She stepped back and asked, Nini, what did you just say?
"What did I say?" asked Nini with a confused face.
You just said she was poisoned, Yumi screamed.
"What are you talking about?" Nini said while her hands and body started to tremble.
Annie and Yumi stared at each other in shock and looked at Nini. You said she was poisoned, said Yumi again.
"How did you know that? Also, why are you sweating so hard? You've been acting like that for a while, Nini," asked Annie. I have lice, replied Nini.
Ew, Nini, that's disgusting, said Yumi in a gagging voice.
Okay, everyone stop, yelled Annie. Nini, let me ask you again. How did you know that Punch was poisoned? I'm just guessing, okay? Let's just move on, please, Nini answered frantically.
Then Nini bent down to pick up her backpack. Her hat fell down and a tiny bottle also dropped on the floor.
Nini, why is your head bleeding like that? Screamed Annie.
Yumi turned to Nini and saw that her head and face were covered in blood and it looked like it was starting to rot. Yumi walked and picked up the tiny bottle. What is that? Yumi asked. Oh my god, it's poison.
Yumi and Annie gasped.
Yumi looked up and asked, Nini, did you just poison Punch?
At this point, Nini was just standing still, not saying anything at all. Guys, I see the exit, yelled Annie excitedly.
Oh my god, let's go, said Yumi.
They all ran as fast as they can to the door. As the bright light showed the exit, 3 of them ran through the cornfield fighting for their last chance of survival. Suddenly, Annie pulled Nini's arm.
Why would you do this to Punch? To us? Annie shouted while tears streamed down her face. The air thickened, heavy with emotions.
Punch trusted you, Yumi said with her voice trembling.
Nini froze. Her heart is pounding so hard as if it was going to jump out of her body. Her throat tightened. I didn't do it, Nini claimed. Why would I hurt Punch when she's the only friend who ever cares about me? Nini said. No one listened. Annie and Yumi is hurt and disappointed. Reality hit Nini like a hard slap in the face. Nini fell to the ground sobbing. The air turned cold, but for Nini, the cold wasn't new.
Tick, tick, tick. The game's timer starts. They have to exit the game before the time runs out.
Annie, we don't have time for this. Let's go. Yumi's voice loud enough to distract Annie from the pain.
Nini looked up. She sees the disgust on both of their faces.
The look is so familiar. The go on, leave me here like you guys have always done. Nini's voice sharped.
The 2 stood surprised, even her, because they were true. The memories poured back. She remembered her 14th birthday party, how she'd waited by the door for 2 hours, clutching a party bag for Punch, who was the only one who showed up. Annie and Yumi had texted later, saying that they totally forgot. The sting of that memory was as sharp now as it was then. All the disrespect, the mean comments, and all the feelings she felt, it started filled her heart.
Oh, for God's sake, would you stop rolling your eyes? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you guys always pushing me aside like I'm nothing. I'm tired of being invited last, of being forgotten. Her voice grew louder and stronger as the timer continues ticking. I hate it, but I never said anything because I didn't want to be a burden. I've been quiet. I've let everyone use me and step on me.
Annie and Yumi panicked and stepped back in fear. We never saw you as a burden, Yumi said.
Nini pulled out a gun and a bottle of butter out of her backpack.
What do you think you're doing? Yumi screamed in fear while grabbing Annie to run to the exit.
Nini shoots popcorn out her gun and poured melted butter all over the floor.
Ouch! Annie screamed in pain when the kernel hit her.
Oop! Yumi slipped on the buttered floor.
Why want me to be a villain? I'm one now, Nini smirked.
The chase through the cornfield wasn't just about survival. It was years of her clawing their way out.
We're sorry, let us go, Yumi shouted.
Annie caught every popcorn with her mouth, shielding Yumi. Hey, this is actually pretty good. Is this kettle corn?
Run! Yumi screamed one last time and sprinted out the door.
Nini slipped on her own butter. The butter starts to overflow, drowning Nini. She regrets everything, pushing Punch, pouring butter, and even regretted being friends with this group. Her last thought hurt her deep before sinking in the butter. Goodbye, corn world.
Hello, Nini? The voice snapped her back into reality. She looked around. Sarah, Peek, the one playing Nintendo on the sofa, Annie eating in the kitchen, and in front of her was Punch.
Nini flunks into Punch's arms.
I'm sorry, Nini cries.
Were you daydreaming? What about the game you said you wanted to play? Punch asked.
No, bad game. No, never. Nini cried, realizing it was all in her head. Punch, let's go home. I don't like this place, Nini said.
Okay. Punch smiled.
Let's go bake cookies. Nini pointed out the door.
Punch nodded. They ditched the party and they lived happily ever after.